when you are in the BJP and your father-in-law is appearing does it ever play up politically within the family?
He's too respected. His integrity.
No, but not him. But what I'm saying is just within, as in, because there may some facts come out in the case.
No, in fact,
suppose
I'll tell you something which needs to go across. In Best Bakery case, Zahira Sheikh, every damn expense was paid by him. And we all know, you know, this girl used to come to the house and she was forced to wear a burqa and things like that.
Forced by who?
Tista and likes.
I see, okay.
So there was a different game going on, and I watched it right in front of my eyes. And that's why I said in the beginning that you live life at a certain level. That means you have certain depth, you know what's going on behind the scene, what really happened.
So privilege provides depth.
Privilege to have the knowledge. Privilege to have what
But I think privilege takes away from experience then, no?
No, I've got 23 years in legal practice.
Because by that logic,
23 years.
Because by that logic, Rahul should have the most in-depth knowledge.
Sure he has. I'm sure he has. I'm sure he has the material which none of us have. But because of his cocooned life, he's not really been able to...
But isn't that what privilege does?
No. I've lived my life like a common person from DTC to driving my own cars, which is not really privileged. I mean, privileged to have the knowledge, but...
Not if you don't have a car, then that would be
DTC buses also.
Yeah. No, but the question I had was that in such a situation where, see, even as a lawyer, when you take on the case, you don't take on the case knowing all the facts. You know, some facts may reveal. So, if something were to come up, do you think it would lead to a conflict? Or, I mean, were there stress points?
No. I'll tell you something. Today, I appear against Congress most of the time.
On TV?
On TV or press conference or whatever. I appear against JDU all the time. And all the time, because Dad was very, political person. Had his own ideology, but he was so respected across board that anybody who walks out, in fact, I'll not name a particular JDU MP who said, Ye Meenakshi Lekhi introduced me to someone, and someone said, oh yes, we know her. And I was like, oh, okay. And सोशलिस्ट बाप की सैफरन बेटी कहाँ से पैदा हुई, उनके पिताजी तो बहुत अच्छे थे और ये तो बहुत ही ख़राब हैं. So, and that person is very friendly with me otherwise. So I looked at him and I told him, I said, धन्यवाद, आपने तो हमारी शान में बहुत कुछ कह दिया, तो आपके मुंह से तो बहुत अच्छा लगा, क्योंकि अगर एडवर्सरीज तारीफ करने लगे तो मुझे लगेगा काम ठीक नहीं किया मैंने, तो आपके मुंह से अच्छा लगा. So he said, नहीं ये पता नहीं कैसी ख़राब लड़की है कि तरकश में क्या क्या तीर डाल के लेके आती है. तो आई टोल्ड हिम, आई सेड जी नहीं, बिल्कुल गलत है, मैं तो शील्ड लेके खड़ी होती हूँ. आप कभी बॉफर्स फेंकते हैं, कभी भाला फेंकते हैं, कभी बंदूक फेंकते हैं, वो तो फेंकते आप हैं, मैं तो खाली शील्ड लेके बैठी हूँ डिफ्लेक्ट करने के लिए. मैं कभी किसी पे नहीं अटैक करती, लेकिन कोई अटैक करेगा तो फिर मेरी तरफ से.
Yeah, because it would be hard to paint you as this very defensive.
I'm not defensive.
Quiet figure. That's
I'm not. But who know me personally, who know me otherwise, know that side of me, and they know that I could be somebody who could just sit with a cup of coffee and a book and not talk to anyone or not disturb anyone, and because that is what I love doing.
Sure.
Actually, but that's one side. But the other side could be what you see.
So the thing is, you can have two, different things happening within one family unit, and there's no conflict or contradiction.
And family unit, I'll tell you, in family unit, my husband appears for whoever can afford him. As simple as that.
Right.
And
there's no political affiliation.
Absolutely none. Sure. And he's somebody who will speak his mind, unless he's paid for to have a particular brief in the court.
Right.
So which is all right, and half the time he will be criticizing me also, which is also okay. Or
not in public.
No, why would he do that?
Sure, absolutely.
Why would he do that?
Yeah, if he wouldn't, then it wouldn't be a marriage, would it?
Why would he do that?
Okay. Now, my last question. I saw your debate with Katju when he had written that piece on Modi. First of all, what do you think of Katju? I think he's an extremely entertaining gentleman.
Endearing?
Entertaining.
Entertaining. I didn't. I heard endearing.
No, entertaining. He's endearing also in you know, my weird uncle kind of way.
One has, one has interacted with him in the court. I've appeared before him.
Right.
And
yeah. What was he like as a judge?
Many times, very opinionated. Had his own ideas. But if you could rebuff and deal with him in the same format, I think people in Delhi, I always say, I said I've grown in the jungle of Delhi, so I know exactly how to handle people, whichever way. Being polite, being curt, both comes very naturally.
Right.
So if somebody is nice, somebody is decent, you know exactly how to deal with that person. But if somebody is curt, somebody is being silly, is trying to step over your toes, you know exactly how to handle those people. And that is growing up in the jungle of Delhi.
Right.
And that's what Delhi does to you. So even in the court, I never had very unpleasant experience. I could always get
But on the debate, it was less than polite.
Unpleasant.
It was.
No,
it wasn't unpleasant, but you really went at him. And
no, but on facts.
Yeah, sure, on facts.
On
and
facts
what he had done is, just so the audience knows, the debate was about Justice Katchu had written a piece where he was comparing Modi to, you know, Nazi Germany and all that he had done.
So I went on facts.
Sure, sure. And you really went on facts. So I just have a feeling.
Yeah.
Modi,
and he was defensive.
Modi. Sorry?
Justice Katchu was defensive.
The poor guy is always defensive. People are just, no matter when he appears, they're just going at him because he says bizarre things. But that's okay.
Okay. I'm glad you said that. But I'll tell you something. For example, if somebody says 2,000 people died, that's factually false. If somebody says Muslims died, that's factually false.
If someone says only Muslims
only
died.
Muslims died.
Muslims did die, but Hindus also died in firing. I get all that.
No, not just firing. 34% of dead were Hindus in a state which has 9% Muslim population. So, who was more violent?
Yeah, sure. I'm not getting into that zone, though. We'll save that for another time. Right now, I'm talking about just the enthusiasm and aggression with which one sees BJP spokespersons or the members go for anyone who says anything against Modi. Modi is appearing like the Sonia of the BJP.
No.
One second, ma'am. अगर सोनिया को किसी ने बोला तेरी तक खैर नहीं. Okay, so now अब मोदी के बारे में वो अमर्त्य सेन said भाई I don't like बड़ी उन्होंने अपनी भाद्र लोक बंगाल में कहते हैं I don't know what it means but everyone in Bengal भाद्र लोक person. So भाद्र लोक can say any भाद्र लोक way कि भाई he doesn't like Modi. Chandan Mitra wants him stripped off this thing. What I'm saying is if anyone says anything about Modi, like everyone with the BJP really attacks that person. Which is a bit like if anyone says anything about Soni बाकी किसी के बारे में बोल लो कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता अडवाणी के बारे में बोल लो उसके बारे में मोदी को बोला तो फिर देखी so वो do you feel he's becoming like that? Modi is the Sonia of the BJP.
No,
Don't
Modi
say
is not.
anything about it.
Modi is not the Sonia of the BJP, and Modi can never be the Sonia of the BJP for the simple reason Modi has risen from the ground.
So has Sonia.
Well, there is a difference. There's a difference. The difference in the quality of work, the difference in not leading a very privileged life. He hasn't had a privileged life. He's made it a privileged life.
So has Sonia.
No, I'm sorry. It is there is no comparison. I'm sorry. It's like comparing chalk with cheese. Sorry, I won't take it.
She was from very humble background.
Humble
as
background.
an au pair, she worked.
No, fine. I mean, today one may try to take credit for the au pair bit, but fourth richest leader in the world is not humble.
I don't know about that.
But वो details तो हैं ना. Those details do exist
but
in the.
I'm just saying. Do you think
I'll tell you.
It's
so
the enthusiasm with which people attack anyone says anything about Modi doesn't do the BJP or Modi any favors?
No. I'll tell you something. You see, Modi today is connecting to people, and people feel that he has been treated unfairly for a very long time. he's been victimized for a very long time for doing the right things, for doing the correct things, for being who he is. And because of this unfair treatment, a sense of justice and correctness prevails. And so far as Amartya Sen is concerned, I too reacted to it. And my reaction was more, again, facts and knowledge.
One's not grudging a reaction.
Yeah.
I'm just talking about the content of the reaction, the quality of the reaction. Like, for example, if you say something about someone who I really like or respect, I will argue what nonsense.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
If you say, don't go on my mother, okay, you know, when we are बच्चे करते हैं कि भाई इसके बारे में बोल दिया, उसके बारे में बोल दिया. But the moment someone says something about someone you really love, you react differently.
See, what people today are connecting with Modi is more to do with their emotional connect, because they feel, especially people from BJP and even outside, that for 10 years, the person has been unfairly treated. He has not been given credit for all the good work that he has done, and the only person who has done anything during these 10 years.
So the strategy fight unreasonableness with unreasonableness?
At times. And at times I'll tell you something.
But how does that help?
At times, I'll tell you. So far as Chandan's, Mitra's reaction is concerned, I think it was an emotional outburst. And again, one Bengali to another Bengali, the very emotional lot. So far as my reaction would be, that will be more like a Delhi wala reaction. And I would say, Bhagwati has described...
नहीं दिल्ली वाला reaction
नहीं दिल्ली वाला reaction हो तो उसको facts पे मारो ना, जहाँ उसको लगेगी, अच्छी तरह लगेगी. उसको बोलो कि आप Nobel laureate तो बन गए, मगर तुम अनपढ़ हो, तुमको पता ही नहीं अपने देश में इतिहास क्या है राइट्स का. तुम जिस पार्टी के लिए खड़े हो, सबसे ज़्यादा राइट्स तो उन्होंने करवाए हैं, सबसे ज़्यादा लोग तो उनके हाथों मरे हैं, और उन्हीं के साथ आज तुम खाना खा रहे हो. You know,
you're giving the examples of where he's been wronged, what are the Congress's history of riots has been way worse than BJP. I understand all that. My thing is that with Sonia, if you say anything like, for example, people react emotionally to Sonia also, like when Sonia renounced the Prime Minister's chair. I remember the way Renuka Chaudhary started crying. It was like, I haven't seen anything like that since, I think, some boring Amol Palekar film of the 70s or 80s. I've seen how, I think Janardhan Dwivedi started crying or claimed to have cried when Rahul made some speech. You know, it's like that. Like, if you say anything on Modi, ya to, you know, anger, so that was all.
You know, I'm going to disclose something which I never spoke in my life. A lot of people won't know that fact unless you go to the archives of that period, 8th or 9th May 2004. I was reacting emotionally to Sonia being elevated as the Prime Minister. Okay? And I remember...
Emotionally, as in were you punching someone's face or were you crying?
Almost that, almost that. I said, how can this happen in this country? Only in this country. How can such a thing happen? Because an Indian cannot be appointed as a municipal corporation sweeper in Italy. And what kind of country are we making? Because, you know, corresponding laws, international system of law, etc.
So it was a complete emotional reaction.
Complete emotional, and my first political speech, you can say. I have been a quiet worker, writing, reading, doing a few things, all that, associating myself. Kids were small, working, lawyer, etc. But first time I went on a dharna and sat outside Jantar Mantar, got arrested and did all that.
On this issue?
On this issue. And that too outside Parliament Street, Thana, that corner. And I made a public speech and a lot of TV cameras and everything was there. And I said, how, till yesterday, her children were making statements कि हमारी माँ को नहीं चाहिए. अभी कैसे वो अपना कागज biodata लेके गई हैं. And I read out. And then I said how it is unethical, illegal and incorrect for a country. And today, in retrospect, I think it would have been better
had she become Prime Minister.
Had she become, because we would have held her responsible. Today, she rules the roost, and Manmohan Singh, poor guy, is there to get the flag. So this, you know, diarchy, which the British did with India, is exactly what they have done. So I had a very, very emotional reaction. And again, as an Indian, as a very passionate Bharatiya, I would say, how can such a thing exist? That lady after 11 years of a marriage, had not taken Indian citizenship. Only after her husband became a prime minister and in the PMO did she apply for citizenship 12 or 20 days thereafter. So sitting with those
I
facts,
can see obviously it's a very emotional reaction. So Modi has the same.
It is not right, and I'll tell you, it is not right. For example, when Digvijay Singh said 1992 ke baad, the terrorist activities have increased, right? So obviously my point would be, from 2003 till 2013, 5,500 of riots have happened in this country. More than 943 people have died, and more than close to 19,000 people have been injured, except in the state of Gujarat, not a single riot. तो अभी तक गाली बहुत दिया, ताली भी बजाओ उसके लिए, और इन सब के लिए कौन responsible है?
But the other opposition won't do. I thought when you said that Digvijay Singh's statement that made everyone react emotionally, I thought it was the Tanchmal that he recently.
I didn't react emotionally. I'll tell you.
Okay.
I heard it. I heard it, and they asked for my reaction, and unfortunately they never carried my reaction because it was too correct. My reaction was that I find it offensive.
First of all, what does it mean? I've never heard that expression. Have you heard it before?
You see, I would label it, again, growing up in Delhi, streets and seeing all this kind of innuendos which go on. You immediately, as a woman, think it's not something nice.
But you've never heard, I've never heard that expression
before.
No,
it is a colloquial thing which happens in Madhya Pradesh. But you understand mal, you know.
Sure.
So just, even if you relate to one word, you know it's not it's not in a dignified manner.
So what was your reaction?
So my reaction was, one newspaper called up and they asked for my reaction, and I said that on that day 2-3 statements had come. So first this thing had come. So I said, so far as this particular statement is concerned, my reaction is that I find it offensive, but there is a lady involved. And there is a lady who's heading the party. What is their reaction? And do they think this is the correct language for a political appreciation? It's for them to react.
Right.
So that was my reaction. But
measured. You didn't punch anyone there.
No, it is a punch. It is a punch. It is a punch.
Sure.
It is a punch because it is for them to react and respond to their own colleagues.
Right. Okay. Now, I wanted to wrap up with the Modi question. I want to just come back to it. I personally do think that he has become the Sonia of the beach. If anyone says anything about him, they just go at him. Do you think there is anything wrong with Modi? I mean, is he the Maryada Purushottam that there is nothing wrong with him? If I were to very honestly ask you 3 things, and you know the way they frame a question so it doesn't sound offensive, I'm not saying that's wrong with him. 3 things that you could improve about Modi, what would they be? Or you think there's no way he needs improvement?
I don't think he needs any improvement.
Oh dear God.
And if at all there is any improvement, I'll
perfect.
talk to him.
All right.
I will talk to you.
Nice. Okay, good answer. Thank you for your time. Pleasure talking to you. And good luck on those television debates. Oh no, wait, hang on. I haven't asked you, which is your favorite newspaper and your least favorite newspaper? Because channel mein to aap nikal gayi. I'm not going to press you. You told me the favorite, you haven't told me the least favorite. Newspapers, which is the favorite?
There are days on which a particular newspaper is a favorite one, and so there are days, and there are certain topics. I mean, I read quite a few in the morning.
Okay.
And
okay, if not a favorite paper, favorite reporter, favorite journalist, favorite editor?
On days, you know, on days I find sometimes reports very biased. So, and sometimes I always laugh and joke and I say, you know, these guys are sitting with a supari in the morning. Aaj supari leke aaye hain ghar se.
Nice.
Then we are also encounter specialists at times.
Oh dear. That's not a safe thing for someone on the BJP to say in the current time.
I'm just joking, you know.
Of course I understand you.
These guys have taken, you know.
But you don't find any newspaper which... Or any journalist whose work you've really appreciated over the years?
There are many, but I would be unjust
to name just a couple.
To name just a few and incorrect. In fact, when I was searching about News Laundry, I was reading a couple of names and I found certain credible names, and it was in that context I chose to come. So it's not as if, and my, again,
so there are rumors around about us that seem to be true.
No, it's like my association will go back to Newstrack days.
Right.
So I would associate certain quality and I would associate certain things and certain merit, and I would say yes. And it is in that context. For example, I would say by now, if you read a particular news, say in Asian Age, and then you read a particular news in Indian Express, then you read the same news in Hindustan Times, and then you read the same news in Times of India, maybe Economic Times, you know what really must have happened.
By getting a bit from here, a bit from there, sure.
Yeah, what really must have happened and what must be the correct picture. The biases about, and some very fine people otherwise have such a anti-Modi bias, no matter how hard you argue with them, they are not going to change.
Right.
And today I have started telling them, I say, you know, I want you to sit with me and discuss it point by point, and I'll tell you what happened. You see, today there's some mail which is doing the rounds, and I find it so correct. To say the largest solar power center built by Modi, 2002 rights. Best roads in Gujarat, WHO
I've seen that mail as well.
2002 rights. Anything good, and unless you have every village having drinking water supply and electricity 24/7, 2002 rights. I mean, what were you doing? Tell me that. And I brought out the Ministry of Home Affairs report, in which 5,500, close to 5,500 rights have happened in the country from 2003, from 2004 till 2013.
I mean, post 2002 there have been riots, including Assam and stuff.
No, post NDA,
sure.
only UPA time. Figures are wrong, again I know, because I know what has happened in Assam. 6,500 crore is what Modi's government spent on rehabilitation victims.
I'm not
300 crores, which
disagreeing with what you're saying.
Has not reached.
Yeah, sure, but I do think that Mr. Modi's public statements at the time didn't do him any favors. That's all I'm saying. Just the way he played it. But I don't want to get into that. That's the difference.
No, I must answer you on
okay,
that. I must answer you on that, because I remember being on one channel on that day, on that specific subject, and up against people who have a different bias again. You see, for me personally, it may sound very dramatic and funny, but I'm one person who really adores animals and cares for plants and things.
And the occasional human.
That's you speaking like Aman, you know.
Okay.
Then, for example, if somebody is trying to cut a large tree, I'll always feel very bad. I say, can it be lifted, transplanted, or done something? Many a times pots break in the house because the plants have grown too big, so I'll plant them in the park, find a place for them. I won't just allow them to die. If your head is tuned in, and as a child, I used to save ants, which you may find very funny, because there was
I used to kill him.
I used to save, and I used to save because
burn
again,
him.
I used to put a leaf and get them out of water and things like that. So it was quite a crazy thing to do, even at that time. And the reason was how certain ideas impact you as a growing up child. So your head gets wired in certain way. If you, as a child, you've grown with the idea that everything living needs to be respected and has life. So whether you can become an ant in next life.
Sure.
Right? That is the idea I have.
That's your point of view, right? No, that's your upbringing. How does it have to do with Modi's playing up
because
this?
It's a very, very Hindu way of thinking. It's a religious training. And I'm coming to that. And if you're wired, I'm not saying all Hindus think that way, but if you're wired in that way, that every living being, no matter how small it is, needs to be respected, and you need to feel the pain. And I think, I haven't ever spoken to him, but I think he must have been affected, and something like this must have happened. That while you're sitting in the car, and it has happened.
The controversial puppy comment, which is out of context.
It has happened with me. It has happened with me. And I remember outside Constitution Club, because it's one way, I'm going in one direction. I see on the other side a cat roll over under a car. And because I am somebody who will actually pick up animals in my car and take them to the hospitals, that day I just drove off. I didn't stop the car because it was one way. And for me, I would have had to come via Parliament Street. That thought haunted. And I was sitting on the dining table, I still remember, with kids and Aman and everyone. And we all are pretty much think the same way. And I started saying, you know, I saw that the cat was rolling over, and I feel bad that she may not have survived.
So are you saying you're giving this thought process, you're saying this because of your Hindu upbringing, and therefore Modi would have it?
No,
Is that what you're saying?
I am saying, I know of Muslims also who can't, and some of them very, very close friends, who don't eat on Eid. I know of such people also, because the sound of the animal hurts them also.
Right.
So I'm saying it is how your head is wired.
Sure.
So if your head is wired in a way, I'm purposely explaining this, that if your head is wired in a way where killing of a life, any life, man, woman, animal, tree, it doesn't really matter, you feel sad. And how much more sad you will feel for a human, because you are not a person who's bereft of emotions.
Well, I don't quite agree in the sense that
no, that's how I look at it.
So I just think a lot of people, I mean, I know animal lovers who are very cruel people. Emotionally, they're very cruel. I really couldn't give a shit if some animal dies, but I would if a human being dies. I'm not sure that really is an argument. But my point is, I was only saying that at that time, and I'm not going to counter you on any facts of how many Hindus died, how Modi played it. My only point is that because perception matters, the reality may be whatever it may be. I don't think he did himself any favors with how he conducted himself at that time. That's all I'm saying. He may have done the correct thing throughout, but just the way he played it was...
This particular statement?
No, just on not on this one. Back in 2002, why that happened?
He did the right thing.
No, I just think that was hardly the time to say something like, I've gone over this with Madhukishwar, hum panch, hamare 25. Why? What was the need? I mean, you had 100 million things to say, and at that time when people are perceiving you that way, is like saying, "Aa bell mujhe maar," and then saying, "Dekho bell mujhe mar raha hai."
No. See,
you think that was okay to say at that time?
No. I'll tell you something.
Would you have said that? Would you have said that at that time?
It depends. If somebody is irritating me constantly.
He was making a speech, yeah.
No. It depends. You don't know the background. If the thousand things going on in your head.
That is why a leader has to show more restraint and maturity.
Maybe you're not to react emotionally.
Okay, I'm not saying right or wrong. Okay, let's forget right or wrong. Cause and effect. If you say that, people will look at it this way.
No, I'll tell you. Cause and effect, again, half sentence is being played.
No, I'm not talking about that cause effect. I'm saying, मैं बोल रहा हूँ cause and effect in the sense कि आप ऐसा बोलोगे cause तो लोग बोलेंगे देखो भी ऐसा. That's all I'm saying.
आपको cause and अब आप देखो how unfair, and it is in your previous question has to be seen in that context when you say people react emotionally, because those who know about him or those who have read about him know that how correct this man is and how undiscriminating he is when it comes to law and order or anything. And in this context, every time half sentences, half truths have been played. For example, cause and effect, I'm purposely coming to right now, where this person said, क्रिया और प्रतिक्रिया की चेन चल रही है और हम उसको रोकना चाहते हैं.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that statement.
Right? Now that is played, क्रिया के प्रति प्रतिक्रिया होती है.
Sure.
Half truth. Again, your media crooks. Crooked media.
They're decent people who are victims of circumstances.
Yes, decent
just like
people,
everybody else
decent people who sometimes act unethically while working for their job, right?
Sure.
Another instance, about Atalji's speech. राजधर्म निभाने का समय है और वो वही कर रहे हैं. It's on YouTube. It's a recorded speech. Now वो वही कर रहे हैं is not played anywhere. Bilkis Bano वो womb से निकाला is found to be false. Till date, a lady in the parliament said the same thing. So you are unnecessarily and unethically targeting someone because you can't meet that person on the facts.
Okay, they're not mutually exclusive. I'm not saying again, this is going on and on how long this interview is gone, but I'm not, all I'm saying is they're not mutually exclusive. While the media may have been unkind to him, may have been, you know, over. So I'm not saying that's untrue. But what I'm also saying is that it is not untrue, in my view, that Mr. Modi could have played this differently. I think he didn't do himself any favors in the way he conducted himself. I think it could have been better. That's all I'm saying. You will not agree.
That's your point of view.
Sure it is.
That's your point of view.
But you think he played it perfectly.
I don't know whether you're his...
Because Modi can do no wrong, is that right?
No. I mean, I don't think he's somebody... I think he understands the people, emotions and reacts to circumstances far, understands it far deeper than you and I can comment on. That's my reading.
Time will tell if he becomes Prime Minister. Thank you so much for your time again. This time it is finally goodbye.